Sup, everybody? I'm excited. You're excited. I'm sure. If you haven't heard, which you should have in the last day or so, Nintendo's holding a Nintendo Direct tomorrow, and that's great because we haven't had one since Satoru Iwata died, and that sucked. It really sucked. We've had like little clippings of just like information coming out slowly, like the Mario Maker level, which probably would have gotten its own trailer, had it not been for the fact that they weren't doing Nintendo Directs during that time. But I'm super excited, and so I thought I'd just make a little video just talking about predictions for what I think might happen in the Nintendo Direct. I've gotten a few things here. Actually looked back at the last two directs they've done at the end of the year. Usually Nintendo will do one direct at the end of the year and then one immediately following the start of the next year, with usually about a month or 2 month gap in between. And so I'd say that the we're probably gonna get another direct in January if they continue this. It might be different now that Iwata's dead, or I probably shouldn't just say that because he's no longer with us. But um, it's exciting. I'm like I love watching Nintendo Directs. I love reacting to or watching reactions to Nintendo Directs. I'll probably have my own reaction video for once now that I have a wonderful webcam here. So looking back at the last two Nintendo Directs they've done at the end of the year, they did one in November last year and December the year before that. It's pretty much a guarantee that we're gonna see games that are coming out at the end of the year, the big ones mainly. Last year we had stuff like Ultimate NES Remix, Captain Toad Treasure Tracker, Smash Bros, Mario Kart DLC, stuff like that came up. I know in 2013 they had it was in December, so you didn't really have any much to deal with. But they did announce Dr. Luigi and Pokemon Bank to come out around that time. But the games, so yeah, there's gonna be some locks like that. Like there are games I'm definitely gonna say we're gonna see. We're gonna see Animal Crossing Amiibo Festival, which comes out the day after the direct. Actually, we'll see stuff like Mario Tennis Ultra Smash comes out on November 20th. Xenoblade Chronicles X, Devil's Third, and Pokemon Super Mystery Dungeon. The interesting thing is that there's only one 3DS game left to come out this year that's of really any significance. There's a lot more next year, which I'll get to eventually, because the second thing I really noticed out of the end of the year Nintendo Directs the past 2 years is that they also tend to look at what games are coming out the next year, as you would expect. Usually through about March is the main bulk of the games they talk about. It's a lot more relevant when you talk about a December Direct like in 2013. They didn't do as much last year, but that was mainly because most of the games were still about to come out. I don't think we have that. We have maybe like 5 games coming out at the end of the year I just mentioned. So I think there's a good chance we see a lot of games from this next year as well. Last year we saw Codename Steam, Majora's Mask 3D was revealed, Kirby and the Rainbow Curse, and Monster Hunter 4 Ultimate. So those were all shown off. We also had one end of the year game. In the past 2 years, we've had one end of the year game for the next year and a game in May. So that'll be interesting to see if they do that again, because we don't really know what the May game is going to be. Last year it was Splatoon. The year before that it was Mario Kart. They really like to get a bigger game out there. And I think right now the game that I think we're looking at, I'd assume it would be on Wii U. You either have the Shin Megami Tensei Cross Fire Emblem game, or you have Star Fox Zero or a Pokken Tournament. And since people were talking about how Star Fox Zero is more than likely going to be an earlier game, I don't think it'll be the May one. I think that one's probably actually going to be Pokken Tournament. That seems like the most likely place for it to show up. And I think it'd be a great release. People love Pokemon, and a Pokemon fighting game is really cool. It's a really cool idea. I definitely think they'll put that there, especially because it's a multiplayer game, and Nintendo those past 2 years, Mario Kart and Splatoon, both multiplayer games. I think it'd be a great summer game. So other stuff that we could probably see, I mentioned we might see something from Jinne Iburoku #FE. Shin Megami Tensei Cross Fire Emblem thing. I'm wondering if we'll get an English trailer for it or not. That seems like a game that might come out like around the Yoshi Woolly World time, and if it does, we might not see it. We also Star Fox Zero. I think we're definitely going to see stuff from Star Fox Zero. They want to push that going into next year. And Fire Emblem Fates, I think, is another thing that's going to show up. People are going to go crazy for that game. Fire Emblem Awakening was so good. We already know a lot of stuff about Fates from its release in Japan, but it doesn't matter. Like, the translations have been great the past few games, and I just want to see what they throw out here. So other thing that I think we'll probably see most likely to show up, or very likely to show up, we might see Bravely's Second End Layer or Metroid Prime Federation Force. The latter one is especially interesting. A lot of times what Nintendo will do is they won't really talk about a game coming next year between E3 when it's revealed and the late end of the year direct. So I think this is a good time to talk about Metroid Prime Federation Force. It would basically be kind of like the Yoshi's New Island thing from 2013. They had like just a random 3DS game that was coming out midway through next year that no one really cared about, but was probably going to happen. So I think we'll see Metroid Prime Federation Force. We'll definitely see Bravely Second End Layer. This is a period of time in 2013 where they talked about the first Bravely Second game, and it's coming out around the same time next year. So I think that's definitely when we're gonna be talking about it. I think that's probably definitely gonna show up. There are 2 other locks that I have. There are 6 total. The first 4 were the games that are coming out this year: Animal Crossing Amiibo Festival, Mario Tennis Ultra Smash, Xenoblade Chronicles X, Devil's Third, Pokemon Super Mystery Dungeon. I guess that's 5. But the 2 other things I think we're going to see is more Amiibo. We might see something like the Lucas, Roy, or Ryu Amiibos finally showing up. And I know the Mewtwo Amiibo's coming out in like a few days, so that'll probably be talked about at least. So something Amiibo related, maybe even games. There's rumors about a Splatoon possible uses for a ton of different Amiibo. I know we saw like an image, supposedly leaked image of a Toon Link. So that could be there. I'm not sure. I think we'll have something Amiibo related. I'm not sure if that'll be it, but they really did a lot of stuff with Amiibo, talking about last November's Direct. So I think they'll do it again this year. There's no reason not to, especially since they want to just keep pushing that over and over again because it sells so well, and they want to keep selling as well as possible. The other thing that we're definitely going to see is some Smash Bros. DLC information, especially with the fighter ballot. I think the fighter ballot is something we're definitely going to see a lot about. Maybe not a lot about, but I think they will tell us who they're going to take from the fighter ballot to make into a character. It's been a month. I think they've had enough time to, it's been a month since it closed. They've had a lot of time to look at the characters that have been voted for even before that. So I think there's a lot of time for them to have developed at least one character and maybe talk about who they could possibly bring out for a second or third. I don't know if they will, exactly say who those are. I think they'll probably, like, if there's like someone voted but they're like, I'm sorry guys, we're not gonna do this, they might actually say that. There's a good chance they don't as well, because they just don't want to make people angry, but with whatever decision they just finally decide to go for, but it could go either way. So the other thing that I've really noticed, so like I mentioned earlier, they've usually stick to between now and March, and then they have like one game in May, which I think is going to be Pokemon Tournament, and then one game in the holiday of the next year. In 2013, it was Super Smash Bros., and in 2014, it was Xenoblade Chronicles X. And there's really only one game that we know is coming out in late 2016, and that's The Legend of Zelda for Wii U. And it's been a long time since they talked about it, and the same thing happened last year. It's been a long time since they talked about Xenoblade Chronicles X. So it's kind of entirely possible that they come out with like some sort of teaser for Zelda again. They've got about a month before they could do the same thing with the Game Awards like they did last year. That was kind of out of left field. It just kind of showed up. So I'm not sure if they do that again. So they definitely could hold it for that if they wanted to. But I think they, I don't know if they go for it. It's interesting because like everyone wants to see it. Like like E3, everyone wanted to see it. There's really no time anyone does not want to know more stuff about the new Zelda game. It's exciting, and I really want to play it. I want to see more of it. The world looks cool, looks so interesting. They probably won't get any. If they do show it, I doubt they go into any story details or anything. They might like. They haven't really shown an actual like boss fight in any way, shape, or form yet. They might want to do that. I mean, they had that like thing running through the forest, and we have like no idea what the hell that was. So like some sort of more information about the game, like anything really would do. And if that's not their game, I don't know. We know about Pikmin 4 being in development, and if that's it, sure, I'll see it. I want to see more reveals. More reveals, and is gonna be great. I would love that. So yeah, that's most of the stuff that I have for this. I think the big prediction that I could go for right now is that includes Zelda for Wii U. I think the big prediction I go for is that we see 3 Zelda games show up in this direct. The first is obviously Zelda for Wii U if it shows up. The second is Hyrule Warrior Legends, which I forgot to mention before when I was talking about games that are coming out early next year that we're probably going to see. I think either way, no matter what happens with the rest of this bold prediction, we're probably still going to see Hyrule Warriors Legends. But the final part of the bold prediction, which is something a lot of people have been speculating up to this point, and a lot of prediction videos have said this is definitely going to be there, which is Legend of Zelda Twilight Princess HD. And to add on the fact that we have seen like eShop data hinting or referring to the fact that it exists, we've seen like you know the backstory for this at this point. Like it's been heavily rumored, it's been heavily anticipated. We have that image of a stock photo, that new stock photo of Link that looks very high res, like completely new, but is in the exact same pose as the character was in his official art for The Legend of Zelda Twilight Princess. So the last thing I can add to all of that evidence pointing to this game's existence is that for the last 2 years, the last direct of the year, they have announced a new Zelda game. Last year, they announced Legend of Zelda Majora's Mask 3D, and the year before that, they announced Hyrule Warriors. So if they want to continue the trend, then the first game we're going to see in this Nintendo Direct is The Legend of Zelda Twilight Princess HD. And I would be so pumped for that. Like, I didn't really think I wanted this game, but the more I thought about it, the more I'm just like, you know what? This is probably the one game that is like on like GameCube level graphics. I think this is the one Zelda game that has not aged well at all. Wind Waker obviously is beautiful still, and they really didn't need to do that much to improve the art style and make it look gorgeous when they ported it to the Wii U. And I don't think they really needed to do that much for Skyward Sword either, but Twilight Princess, they definitely needed to. I mean, like, they used some really dark textures and stuff that, like, give it a good art style, and I'm wondering how it's going to translate to HD, and that's really the exciting part. And besides the fact that I just kind of like some of the dungeons and bosses and world that it's in, it's not the best Zelda game in existence, probably, but it is very, very interesting to see it get an HD release, and I'm definitely going to play it if it comes out. So yeah, 3 Zelda games. That'd be crazy, wouldn't it? Anyway, that's it for my predictions for the Nintendo Direct tomorrow. I'm going to be super excited. I will record my reactions. It will be late because I have to work until 5:30, so I'm going to do my best for an hour and a half to not be spoiled whatsoever. Hopefully, I can get away with that. Yeah, it's going to be fun. Super excited. All right. See y'all later then.